and to just give people an opportunity to try this work, to understand just what breathwork can do for you, that it can be a real, very key part of world healing. And we sure need a lot of world healing these days. So I'm really grateful you're all here to take care of yourself and give yourself this opportunity to be with yourself and just allow your feelings. And we need a space to let our inner process come up, because there's not a lot of places in our daily life we can really let it go. So let's talk about all that. So neurodynamic breathwork, this work is based in a deep trust that each of you has the answers you're seeking within, that you have a deep inner wisdom. Your body has a wisdom. We like to call it the inner guiding intelligence in neurodynamic, but you can call it whatever works for you. Your higher self, your soul, your inner wisdom, your intuitive guidance. That there's a deeper place in there that doesn't come from the left brain analytical mind. If you have a strong analytical mind, that's the big challenge for you today, is to let go of that mind, to trust that there's this deeper place inside of you. And the best analogy that I've ever come up with to describe this is, if you cut your finger, you don't have to think in your head to get the white blood cells to go heal the cut at the tip of your finger. There's a system in place that instinctually, automatically brings the white blood cells where they need to go. I mean, if you think about the intelligence that is happening below in your body, below your awareness, that makes that happen, it's pretty astounding. And there's a healing system inside of you. The same principle applies to your psychological system, to your emotional system, to your spiritual system, as well as your physical body. When you stop trying to fix things, stop trying to figure it out in your head, that there's an instinctual way that your inner guidance will take you exactly to what you need. So I invite you for 1 hour in your breathwork today to let go of all thoughts and expectations about what you think you want to have happen. This work is about learning to be receptive to what's already in there, to receive what your inner guidance brings you and not try to direct it. So whatever you think breathwork is about, try to let that go and just open to full loving present acceptance of whatever emerges. So if you forget everything else I say in this introductory talk, the 3 most important words to remember are: trust the process. Try to trust your inner guidance. Come back to that, trust the process, whatever it unfolds in your session. What if what's emerging is coming up? It's because that's just like the cut is being healed, is your system is showing you what you need to release, what you need to let go of. If it's coming up, it means it's relevant. There's something important. So let yourself be surprised by what happens in the breathwork. Give yourself permission to be surprised today. The second core principle that drives everything in neurodynamic breathwork, besides this trusting your inner guidance, is surrender. And I love to call breathwork surrender gym. You think you're here for breathwork today, but we tricked you. You're actually here for surrender gym. You're here to build your muscles of surrender, learning how to drop into the flow of it's flow. I think of flow as synonymous with surrender. It's dropping out of your head. You know that state when you get into where you're not thinking, where things are just on a roll and you're just watching it unfold. That's what you want to get to in this work. So the idea and the way to do that is to let go of your analytical thinking brain and to just follow whatever comes in with trust. And so you'll often hear us say the way past is always through, not around. Meaning, what that means to me is whatever's coming up in your conscious field, it could be your emotions, it could be your sensations in the body, your tensions in the body. It could be just the flow of energy, chi flow, or prana in your body energetically. It could be thoughts even, but just don't attach to it. Just let them up and let them out and let the energy move. So if there was a job description for breathwork, breathing, being a breather today, it would be something like, your job today is to give full permission to whatever energetically wants to emerge, no matter what, emotion, physical, energetic, without judgment. Let it up, let it out, give it permission. That's in trust. Trust it. I've been doing this for 33, 40, 34 years, and I deeply trust. The longer I've done it, the more I've come to trust the powerful wisdom of our inner guidance. So, another thing you'll hear us say a lot is what you resist will persist. It's a beautiful summary of this work in a lot of ways. Because why? Because resistance comes from your mind. When do we get into resistance? When our mind says, "I don't want this. My friend told me that she did this breath work and had a mystical, beautiful, spiritual experience. That's what I came here for. Why am I getting grief? Why am I getting sadness or whatever comes up?" And in that moment, you're not actually in the flow. You're not giving yourself permission to feel what's happening. You're judging it, and that's going to keep you in your head. Is going to keep you out of the deeper process and the deeper experience. So the more you can just let go of all resistance, follow the path of whatever's unfolding in front of you. Breathwork will bring up feelings. If you don't want to be tuned into what's happening in your body, in yourself, there's other breathworks that maybe you can do that are more about relaxation. This one is about facing what's in there, letting it up and out, and giving it permission. For me, this is the most beautiful space. I love when I'm feeling emotional coming to breathwork, because it's a space where I know I can just give it permission to let it up, feel it to its full extent, and let it up and out. But what breathwork will bring up intense, difficult things, but it also brings up joyful things. You also have to give yourself permission, many of us, to feel the joy and the happy things as well. So give yourself permission to just don't differentiate. Don't judge the difficult from the beautiful. If you want more joy, sometimes you have to allow yourself to feel the painful side of things. Okay, so there's a variety of experiences for those of you that are here for the first time that you might go into in this work. The first area of experience is simply the body and sensory realm. Your body might get hot, it might get cold when you do this type of breathing. You might feel buzzing or the movement of energy in your system. You might feel sexual energy, second chakra energy. Sometimes something comes up in the breathwork. We call it tetany. It's actually a physiological phenomenon that happens with hyperventilation, but it also can happen in this breathwork. And it's where the energy, when you're doing this type of breathing, can build up in your extremities. If you've never experienced it before, it can be a little strange because it feels a little bizarre. Because it can feel, when it happens, it tends to be the extremities, the feet, most commonly the hands and wrists, sometimes the cheeks, sometimes in different areas of the body. But when it happens, it tends to feel like that area is paralyzed. Like it'll kind of look like this. We like to affectionately call it claw hands. The thing that's odd is that you'll try to move your fingers when it happens. You're just like, I can't move my fingers. They're trapped. They're stuck. It always passes. It never, don't worry about it. It's normal. And we have never had somebody walk out of a breathwork with like permanently stuck claw hands. It always will clear. So trust it. And just if you happen to be in the 50% of first timers that experience it, enjoy it. Just be curious about it. Just breathe into it, feel it, and it does seem to have both physiological and emotional components. And we have a long blog post, a reasonably good blog post about it on our website if you want to learn more. But just if it happens, know that it'll pass. This work will also bring up just general pains and tensions in the physical body. Whatever's ailing you physically might come up. And again, this is the space not to think of it as oh, dang it, my dang body, if it would just get out of my way, I could have a good breathwork session. Well, if the pain comes up, that actually then becomes your breathwork session. Because remember, if you resist it, it's going to persist. But just practice. One of my greatest spiritual favorite, biggest influences, one of many, but is Stephen Levine, who is a Buddhist teacher, who said he has a definition of hell. His short definition of hell is anytime hell is resistance. When you're in a state of resistance, you're in your own little hell. But so when you're physically in pain, there's something amazing that happens. when you just accept it and feel it, be curious about it, breathe into it, feel it to its fullest, that's what's going to help it move through, especially the little aches and pains. When you just give yourself permission, oh, what does it actually feel like to feel that pain in my shoulder? Move it around and breathe into it. And when you give it permission, that's when it starts to clear. That's the amazing thing. So try not to resist the physical body stuff. Breathwork will also bring up, as we already talked about, emotions. It'll also bring up just memories from your life. It can bring up, sometimes you get sudden insights and like your higher mind comes in. You get like things you've been stuck on in your life. You might suddenly get beyond your ego mind, like, oh my God, now I know what I need to do with that situation. So sometimes it actually can work through the mind, but not the day-to-day thinking mind. But sometimes breathwork will bring up birth-related experiences, if you can believe that, rebirthing or birth-related. But they're not. But the thing is, they're not cognitive memories. They're bodily sensory memories, somatic memories. And also breathwork can bring up beyond transpersonal experiences, things that take you beyond what Alan Watts called the skin encapsulated ego, experiences of oneness, experiences of deeper connection to the planet, completions with loved ones who've passed, past life experiences, ancestral experiences. Sometimes it'll bring up these sort of dreamlike visions and sequences. And it can be, some people might get all the things that I talked about in one session, and you might just get one. There's no hierarchy, but those are some of the things that might come in. But whatever unfolds, just remember to trust, and the way past is through. So now some of you are going to drop in by that mean drop into the flow with more ease, and some of you will have a harder time. I'll be honest with you, I've always struggled with, I have a very ornery mind. My mind doesn't like to let go. It's something 4 years later, it's still something I have to work with. It's a journey that's why I like to call it Surrender Gym. So if you're having an ornery mind, a mind that doesn't want to go away, I have a few tips for you. This is especially for those of you that really have a hard time getting out of your head and like you process through the head first. You almost have to look at the breathwork as a different process. You have to work with your mind if you're in that case. And a few tips on that. The first is really the two things you don't want to ignore are the body and the emotions. That's the first doorway in. Really tune in. What's happening physically, what's happening emotionally. That's what's going to really, oftentimes that's the doorway into the deeper process to really start to feel those things. The third thing is, or the third and fourth are sound and music, or sound and movement. Talk about movement. Now, some of you, breathwork can be a very totally still process, and that like meditation, it can be that way, but it doesn't have to be. Many of you will find that when you start, the music is powerful. It has a lot of rhythm, especially in the first half. Some people instinctively want to move their body. You might want to dance, tap your feet, clap your hands, or move, just sway to the music, or just give your body permission to be part of it. The longer, we've had so much amazing research come out in the last 20, 30 years that validates what I think a lot of us have known for many years, that the mind and the body and the heart are deeply interconnected. And sometimes if you're stuck in your head, letting your body participate in the process can help you drop in a deeper way. So you don't have to be still. So you can move and let the body participate. And the fourth thing, if you're stuck in your head, is it's okay to make sounds. This is doesn't have. It's an amazing thing to be in a room full. I've been in rooms of up to 180 people at one time doing breathing breath work with my mentor, Dr. Stanislav Grof. And when you have that, it's amazing to see the things that unfold with people, and it's okay to vocalize. Sometimes you just need to let it out vocally. Especially if you have a history of holding your voice back. Don't hold your voice back. Give it permission to yell, to scream, to growl, to become an animal and roar, to become a baby and make baby sounds. Whatever's coming up, you don't want to suppress it. That's what being in the flow means. So I'm not saying force it, but if it comes up, give it permission. So movement and voice, and then the fifth thing is the music. And let's talk about the music now, because in this work you're going to go on a musical journey. It's this work combines the breathing with the music, and the combination of the two is what makes it so powerful. Um, I've had many people over the years tell me that they almost don't need the breath. The music itself carries them on a journey. I've also had tons of people tell me they don't even hear the music. The breath is all they need. So everybody's different, but it's the combination of the two that helps you drop in. Like, use the breath, but then the music kind of is like this background that helps keep you focused on the process, and it's like a wave that you ride. So what is the music about like? Well, the first third of it tends to be very high energy, tribal drumming, trance music. There's hardly any lyrics. If it's lyrics, it's more chanting. And high energy, you might feel that's where you might want to move your body if you feel called. The middle third is still high energy, but it has more melody. It still has rhythm, just like the first third, but it's much more melodic. We call it journey music. It takes you on a journey. It can be very intense sometimes. It can also be really like beautiful and joyful. And again, just follow it wherever it takes you. Whatever song is coming up, whatever your reaction to it is, even if you hate it. And I like to joke that I put in one song for everybody. I've deliberately put in one song that each of you will hate, just to give you a chance to have that opportunity to experience that. Obviously I'm joking, but if whatever comes up with the music, just consider the fact that every single person here is going to have a totally different response to every single song. So your job is to ask yourself, why am I reacting to the music this way? Just be curious about just follow what the reaction that comes up. And then the final third of the music, it'll start to slow down, become a lot more heartful, and then a lot more end with very gentle, meditative music. And so the music takes you on this it's almost like a hero's journey. There's a method to the madness. The music is based in my mentor that I've trained with and worked with for years, Dr. Stan Grof. He did the founder of holotropic breathwork. He started doing this work in the 50s, and then I feel like we've kind of evolved it to work with this online process over the last 7 years. And there's really a method. We really encourage you to make a commitment to stay with the whole process. There's something about going through the intense music and then you end up in this gentle meditative place. It's like it helps you learn, especially if you're working through old trauma. There's something powerful about giving yourself permission to feel things intensely for a while, whatever's coming up, and then you always come back to this self-regulation state at the end, this calm, where you learn to go through this process and come back to in the soft landing pad. And not to mention that a lot of times that final segment, helps you bridge the inner process with coming out at the end of we really recommend that the whole process, that you make that commitment to stay for the whole thing. Sometimes things will come up at the very end that kind of tie the whole session together. So even when your mind thinks you're done, we encourage you just to give yourself the permission to feel and relax in that slow, gentle music at the end. Okay, so this is going to be an eyes closed experience. We highly recommend that everybody use an eye mask, a blindfold, or a scarf, something to cover your eyes that helps you sort of officially let go of the outside world. Now you're more than, and also don't forget to turn off your phones, so you don't hear the phone in the middle. I'm going to talk about the other things you want to use to set up your space as well. And by the way, there'll be an opportunity for questions as soon as we're done with this intro shortly here. I will take questions from the chat box. So if you have any questions that come up, this breathwork can be done lying down or sitting up. I'd say about a third of our subscriber base loves to sit in chairs, and that works great. I'd say about a third of our subscribers are just delighted with the fact that they can do breathwork that's facilitated from the comfort of their own bedroom and their own bed. So about a third of people like to be in their own beds. I'm a fan of the third method, which is old school, which is lying on a pad on the floor. That's what I've done for years, and feel like I'd have a hard time being in a bed myself because I know that my body often likes to move around, and I'd be nervous about where's the edge of the bed. I don't want to think about where's the edge of the bed if I'm in doing breath work. But whatever feels right to you, just try it out. You can switch it up if you don't like it. All three of those things will work. And once the music begins, I won't be talking. I'm doing all my talking now. So this is, I will guide you into the breath work with a short meditation. And I also will guide you into getting the breath started, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But once the music begins, this is what we call non-directive breath work. You'll be off on your journey for 1 hour. But during that hour, I'm going to be sitting here holding you all in a safe space and supporting you and available to you from the chat box. So at any point, if you ever need to check in, you feel stuck, afraid, or just something you need to check in about, I'll be here and just come and chat with me. Yeah. So I'm going to share a couple slides, and then we're going to talk about how to do the breathing. And again, I'll answer questions in just a moment. So I'm sharing my screen here. You should see momentarily the 3 ground rules on the screen. And these are just the 3. I just want to start with these. And if you're going to participate today, I need everybody to buy in and accept that these 3 ground rules to participate. Every time you do the breath work, even for those of you who've done it before, every time make a new commitment to these. The first is confidentiality. We really hold this as a safe and sacred process. And it's important that we all feel safe. And part of that is everybody makes a commitment not to share about other people and other names and other people's process outside of the group. And that absolutely means no audio taping, no videotaping. The second is, if you're going to participate today, make a commitment in your heart to do no harm to yourself, to others, or to property. And third, when we get to the sharing circle, in this modern times, we just want to keep this safe for everybody. We need some places where we can just stay human to human and not polarize with our political opinions. So we ask that we keep the political opinions out of the sharing circle, and if you're going to participate. So if we're all in agreement on those, here's what you need to prep your physical space. First of all, you want to make sure you wear loose, comfortable clothing. If you have a belt on, loosen the belt. I would definitely take off earrings or tight rings if you can, or any jewelry or bracelets. And you would definitely want a bottle of water and some tissues that you can reach in arm's reach. Those are the 2 things that most commonly people need. If you get thirsty from the breathing, you might want a water bottle that you can reach. Tissues also in case you need them. It's great to have a blanket or sheet available because your temperature will fluctuate in this type of breathing. Sometimes you'll get hot and even switch off and fluctuate. If you have a proclivity towards chapped lips, we recommend chapstick. And pillows can be great, especially if your body starts to move. They help you. You can put them around you near your head to keep your head safe. Pillows are great. When I do breathwork, I like to have 2 giant floor pillows, one on my left and one on my right, because they're great for anger release. You can pound them, you can squeeze them, you can kick them, you can, do whatever, but they really can be helpful, because I really have come to believe that anger is one of the most suppressed emotions in our modern Western industrialized cultures. And then they're also great to scream into. If you need to yell or scream, you're worried about people in the area, you can put the pillow over your mouth and it really blocks the sound a lot. So pillows can be great. And remember to close your windows and doors if you have neighbors nearby. So how to do the breathing. Let's talk about this. There's 3 main components to the breath. And one moment here. So the first thing is you want to breathe when you do the breathing, and I will guide you into this, but the first thing is to breathe into your belly. You really want to fill your belly with with every breath. You want to feel your belly, with every breath in, your belly should go up. With every breath out, your belly goes down. So fill your lungs, but it should never hurt. Don't force it. If there's sometimes people have tightness in the sternum, just breathe as it should never be a stress breath. Breathe relaxed as deeply as you can into the belly. The second component is to breathe continuously with no gaps between the in-breath and the out-breath. So literally the moment you complete the in-breath, you're immediately breathing out. It's this, we call it circular breathing. It's this non-stop circular breathing without a pause. So you're breathing into the belly without pause. And the third thing is you want to breathe at least a little faster than normal. Start with a little faster, like faster than what your normal rhythm is. But you can always, this is the one that has some flexibility, that if you're in your head and you're just not feeling like you're dropping in, change up the breath a little bit. You might breathe a little bit faster, or sometimes people will breathe with a little extra push on the out breath. That could be helpful for some people, but just breathe. The most important thing is to breathe a little faster than normal, but it's okay to breathe a lot faster too if that's what you're feeling called to. The first 10 years I did breath work, I was kind of taught to do it very quickly. And so for me, it was a very fast process. I was more like this. And by the way, you want to breathe through your mouth to start as well. We recommend mouth breathing. You can get more air in, which helps. But if you absolutely hate mouth breathing, you try it, you don't like it, you can switch it up. But when I first started breathing, for me, it was like, and that really took me to places. But you don't have to, but over time, I realized many people don't breathe that fast and deep. Or you want to breathe deep, but it doesn't have to be that fast and intense. And if you need to, sometimes people will switch it up again to even alternate breathing. But to say a few more tips on this, the rule of thumb with the breath, okay, you're here to do breath work, yes, but really, here's the secret. The breath is not the end all. The breath is the tool to help you get out of your head. Think of it as riding a bike in the mountains. And when you're riding that bike, the pedaling of the bike is the breath. It gives the bike forward momentum. So when you're in your head, pedal the bike. But you don't think about pedaling on a bike ride. At some point, the pedaling just takes on its own life. It does its own thing. That's what you want. Ideally, you want to get to this place where the breath is breathing itself. It's effortless. You're not thinking about it. When that happens, you know you really have dropped in. But the other thing is that once you're up in the mountains and you're in the scenery, you're feeling your emotions. You're on your journey. You're connecting to whatever it is. You're releasing things. Don't stress about the breath. Sometimes, let's say grief comes up. I've had many people come at the end of the session and say, "Well, I started crying." But when I cried, I stopped doing the breath you told us to do. So I thought I was doing it wrong. So I stopped crying and went back to the breath. Well, don't do that. Stay with the crying. But when your mind comes back, when the bike starts getting wobbly, go back to the breath. Start pedaling again. You can always go back to it, but use it to get you up into the mountains. And once you're there, don't stress about it too much. Most people, by the way, your breath is going to 85% of you will find your breath will slow down with the music. In the final third of the music, when the music slows down, by that time, most of you will find your breath slows down a lot. In fact, sometimes it'll slow down so much that you get to this place called Yoga Nidra, where you're maybe only breathing one breath a minute. It slows down a lot. And that's totally normal as well. It fluctuates. So if anybody has any questions about the breath process, feel free to type them in the chat box. I'll get to that in just a moment here. So that's the breathing. And again, I will guide you into that when we start the session. A couple more things. So I'm going to summarize everything I've talked about here. So if you missed the beginning, here's everything the key points. If you forget everything else I talked about, the three most important words to remember are trust the process. Trust your inner wisdom. This is not about your mind directing. It's about letting go of all your expectations and letting your inner guidance be directive, being receptive to whatever's unfolding. So the way passes always through. In other words, whatever's coming up, even if it's what your mind doesn't want, that's your process. Just keep walking right into the heart of that That's what's going to allow it to clear most effectively and clearly. If you resist it, it's going to persist because resistance comes from the mind. Let yourself be surprised. Same thing. When you're out of your head, that's when surprising things start happening. If you do get stuck in your head, what are the 5 tips? Let your body move. Allow yourself to vocalize. Don't ignore the emotions in the body. Those are very often the doorway into the deeper process. And immerse into the music. Let yourself be moved by the music. Music is going to be powerful, very powerful, and for many of you, the music itself might even help carry you. If tension comes up in the physical body, the way to release it is to intensify it, to maximize it, not to get distracted and wish it, like, damn, this body stuff is distracting me. No, that is your process. Feel it fully. And remember to make that commitment to stay with the process until the end. Don't stop in the middle, the end of the music. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, type them in the chat. One last thing before we do a sound check and take a short break is I need to run through the contraindications to this work, just because in case any of you missed them, if you're here for the first time when you signed up. Okay, I can just show this slide. This is kind of another summary. NDB is a practice of being. It's not about doing, about actions or performance or productivity or knowledge or rational analysis. It's about tuning into your intuition, your wisdom, mindfulness, and you're being fully present with what is. It's about really tuning into your emotional, and your body is profoundly wise. Let it guide you in the process. So, and lastly, I need to run through the contraindications in case any of you miss these. These are really important for safety reasons. If any of these are issues, you should not breathe today without checking in with us first. So if you're under 18, you may not participate without prior written parental approval. If you're currently pregnant, you should not do this breath work. If you currently have high blood pressure that's uncontrolled, you shouldn't breathe today. If you have a history of cardiovascular disease or aneurysms, strokes or TIAs, epilepsy, or if you're currently on blood thinning meds, or if you have osteoporosis, or if you have detached retina or glaucoma, you shouldn't breathe today. Check in with us first. We have an email, integrationsupport@breathworkonline.com. And that's where we usually respond within a day if you have questions about any of the physical issues. Also, we want to make sure you're safe. You may still be able to do the breath work, but just let's check in and be sure. And on a psychiatric level, if you've ever been diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, you should not breathe today without checking in with us. We don't want to make things worse. It's very important. I've done this for a long time, and if you have these, you want to check in with us first. If you have PTSD, especially severe PTSD, you should not breathe today without checking in with us. Or if you've been hospitalized for an emotional crisis in the last 10 years, you shouldn't breathe today without checking in with us. Okay, so that's all the talking, finally. I'm going to close down on this. And again, type your questions in the chat, but we have one last thing to do before we take a 2-minute break for bathroom and to get your space set up. We want to do a sound check and get your volume set to because you're going to go on this musical journey. You want to turn your volume up as loud as you're comfortable, but without distortion if you're using speakers. The louder music does help. When we do this in-person sessions, we have quadraphonic speakers. We play it very loud. It helps people drop in. But the nice thing with doing this from home is you get to pick your own volume. So I'm going to play a 12-second segment of the loudest point in the music process session. Turn your volume up to as loud as you're comfortable without distortion. Here we go. Okay, so hopefully you know all of your sound set up. Now's the time we're going to take a 2 minute break and then we'll get started. But this is the time to get your bottle of water and your tissues and your blanket. I'm something to cover your eyes and a pillow for your head. And if you like me, some big pillows. If you like that idea, um, just get yourself set up if you with whatever you need. So I'm just checking in. Yeah, Kim, those are great questions, and we can talk about those towards later in the sharing circle. By the way, I really encourage you all to stay for the sharing circle as well because it's a really powerful part of the process, and there's a lot of benefit that can come from just hearing about other people's experiences. I've learned so much about what's going on in me from and connect by just feeling connecting to what other people are saying and realizing that I'm going through something similar in myself. Um, so it's also a great chance to share your process. So I encourage you to stay for that. And at the very end, by the way, I do end it with a short closing circle and a very special, unique breathwork song. That's at the very, very end after the whole breathwork session, after the sharing circle. And Dana, um, do you feel clear? If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Um, Angela, I couldn't hear the music. So I think everybody else heard the music. Otherwise, I would have heard a lot more people saying they didn't. So Angela, if that's happening, there's a few things that can be going on. It could be a Bluetooth. I don't know if you're on Bluetooth. Um, if you're on your phone, you have to be on the right screen. You can scroll sideways, I think, and to find the right screen. Um, One way to get it to work is just to log out and come right back in. That often will help. So, Angela, are you on the phone or a computer? The other thing is, by the way, if you're on a computer, be sure to close other windows, especially things like Gmail um, and other big programs that might be running in the background. Those can really affect the music that you receive on your end. Also, the internet connection. Sometimes if somebody else is in the house watching streaming movies and games or whatever, it can impact your connection as well. So just be aware of that. Um, and yes, Carol, thanks. And also double check the volume, Angela. Um, so I I recommend that you uh, log in and log out and come back in, and let's just trust. And if um, yeah, I gotcha. So you're hearing everything. You're hearing my voice, but not the music. Um, okay. Did any of those? I would log in and log out, and are you on Bluetooth, Angela? Or no? Okay. So there's something going on, and you check your volume. Double check. Yeah, you're hearing me, but I guess that makes your volume be okay. So try logging on in and logging out. Okay. All right. So we need to get started. So you can check in with me in the chat, Angela, if you come back and it's still not working. Okay. So let's get this show started. Go ahead and get set up with your space. I do encourage you to leave the videos on. Um, just it's a nice gift to the group. We've had a lot of people say that when they wake up in the middle, if something difficult comes up, just looking up and realizing that there's connecting with the feeling of the group energy is helpful, but that's optional. Obviously, you don't need to. You just do whatever feels right for you. So, all right. So let's get started. Go ahead and get settled into your space, whether you're lying on a pad, sitting on a chair, or lying in your bed. Go ahead and put on your eye mask and start to get settled. Start to bring your attention into your inner world and into your immediate surroundings. Basically, begin to let go of your day, of all the things that led you to this moment, all your work, things that are going on. For this next hour, this is your time. It's a gift to yourself that ultimately will be a gift to the people around you as well. To give yourself this permission to just be present with yourself for 1 hour. Beginning to notice your thoughts. What thoughts come up as you're starting to settle in? And when you notice one of those thoughts, just maybe on your next breath out, let it go. Just starting to feel with every breath, you're coming into the present moment more and more fully. Feeling your body, noticing the rhythm of your breath. With each breath out, letting go of your mind or anything, any need to fix anything or to get somewhere. This breath work is about being receptive to what your inner guidance brings you. Being open and receptive. Okay, now we're going to begin the meditation, which will be followed immediately by the breathing instructions, which will be followed by the music. So anytime a group of people breathes together, whether it's online or in person, we create an energetic net of support that's available to each and every one of you that you can tune into at any time to support you in your process. So let's now, in your mind's eye, let's now imagine that all 74 of us from all around this big and beautiful globe, that we're all now going to step into a circle together. And as you imagine all 74 of us stepping in a circle, gently take the hand of the person to your left and the person to your right as we close this safe, sacred container where each of you will go on your own individual journey, but in the safe context of this group. And as you gaze around the circle at all these other breathers, offer your love and your support to everyone here in the group. And allow yourself to receive all that love and all that support as we create this safe container. Knowing that you can always return to this group support at any time in your session if you ever feel stuck or afraid. And now, if you have a source of inspiration in your life, you want to connect to say a prayer, connect to your higher self, or to spirit guides, or anything that you feel called to that is a source of inspiration, feel free to do so now. And now repeating after me, either out loud or to yourself, I give myself permission to fully feel and express any emotions that arise. I give myself permission to make whatever sounds want to come out of my body. And I give myself permission to open my heart to my inner guidance and allow myself to fully surrender into the breathwork process. Now we're going to start the breathing instructions, followed by the music. I'll be here in the chat if you need me at any time. Have a wonder-filled journey, and I will see you on the other side. Starting by taking a deep breath and then letting that out. Taking a second deep breath
Really feeling your lungs expand and then letting that out also. Bringing your attention into your body, noticing if there's any tension you can let go of anywhere in the body. You might begin to imagine that with each out-breath, you can feel your body softening and relaxing. Scanning the feet, the calves, the upper legs, the torso, the belly, feeling your belly completely softening. The chest area, feeling the space around your heart expanding and softening. The face, letting go of all expression on the face. And then the shoulders, the upper arms, the lower arms, and the hands. Releasing any tension that you can out of your entire body. With each out-breath, feeling your whole body relaxing. And now, bringing your attention to the breath. Beginning to start deepening the in-breath with every breath, taking a deeper breath than you normally do. With each in-breath, beginning to feel your belly rise as you fill the belly with each in-breath. Breathing in a way that each breath is full and deep. When you breathe in, your belly moves up. When you breathe out, it moves back down. Taking full, deep breaths. And beginning to breathe a little bit faster than your normal pace. Continuing to breathe full, deep breaths into the belly, but now just with a slightly faster pace than you normally breathe. And now beginning to breathe in a way where there are no gaps between the in-breath and the out-breath, where the moment you complete breathing out, you immediately start to inhale. And as soon as you complete the inhale, you immediately exhale, breathing full, deep, circular breaths that raise your belly with each breath. That's a little faster than normal. Deeper and faster and circular, creating a wonderful circle of breath, always breathing in or breathing out. Faster and deeper, really beginning to imagine and feel your mind letting go with every out-breath. Each time you breathe out, you feel your mind surrendering to this journey, opening your heart to going as deep as you're willing to go.
Shri Gurudev Namah Adgure Namah Jugadgure Namah Sadgure Namah Shri Gurudev Namah Adgure Namah Jugadgure Namah Sadgure Namah Shri Gurudev Namah
Slowly beginning to bring your awareness back into your body, into your space. Breathing gently now, staying present with your inner process. Putting your hands on your heart, opening to gratitude. Bringing to mind one or maybe two things that you can feel grateful for right now. Just allowing that gratitude to come in, to fill your heart. And then expand across your whole body. If it feels right, to offer some of that gratitude back into the circle with all the other breathers who supported you today. And allowing yourself to receive and take in their gratitude that they're sharing with you. Next, crossing your arms around your chest and just imagining giving yourself, all parts of you, your entire being, one big, loving, all-accepting hug with self-compassion for all that you've been through. Accepting yourself as you are, sending love to the hidden and dark and exile parts of yourself. And also just deeply acknowledging yourself for having the courage to show up for yourself in this session today. This hour of self-care you're giving yourself. And just now beginning to come back into your body, stretching your arms and legs, wiggling the toes and fingers. Just feeling your hips, your low back, your neck and shoulders. Just bringing some of that gratitude for just the very fact that we have a body to breathe air, walk in this world. Okay, we're just going to take a very short break to allow yourself to come back at your own pace and use the restroom if you need to, and just start whatever process you need to self-care. If you need to do some journaling, start some artwork, just whatever you need to, and we'll start the sharing circle in just a couple minutes. And I really encourage you to stick around for it, and we'll get that started shortly. Okay, so we're going to just get started and begin to move into the sharing, but just continue to do what you need to take care of yourself, and you can join us as you're ready. Um, so we're gonna in the sharing. There's two ways that you can share, and the first is by typing in the chat box, and I'll read those all out loud and respond as appropriate and answer any questions that come up. Alternatively, you can do what Steve's doing there. At the bottom of your window, there's a reactions button. If you click on the reactions button, there's a raise hand option in there, and you can raise your hand and speak directly to the group, which is always just a beautiful gift for everybody. And we all benefit, and I guarantee you, whatever your process was, whether you had an amazing experience that was powerful and life changing, which does happen, or whether you had a really difficult process, dealing with trauma or all the difficult emotions, whether you felt like you had a hard time dropping in, or whether you just felt like you fell asleep or went to yoga nidra, it's all part of the journey that we all go through in this process of doing breathwork over time. So I guarantee you somebody will be appreciative of your share. So, and again, we'll end the sharing at the very end with a short closing circle and a final breathwork song. So, with that, I'm gonna just open us up and let Steve share. It sounds like he has to leave soon, so we'll give him a chance to share. Steve, can you just say where you are? Florida, I know actually, and how was
I'm
your
from
session?
Florida. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you good.
All right. Well, I'm from Florida, but I'm attending a seminar that I used to go to all the time. It's a chiropractic seminar. And what's coming up for me is this need to be recognized, this need to be approved, and a feeling of kind of self inferiority that started in this session. I went back to when I was a child. I didn't have anything specific, but I grew up with neighbors who were super smart on either side of me. So I didn't feel like I was up to snuff intellectually with them. Then I was competitive. I had an older sister. I don't know exactly, but rather than it being some sort of traumatic incident, it was a series of things growing up that I developed over time, and maybe even TV programs, etc. There was a series of things that I developed and owned an inferiority complex. And then when I was about 20, I started to, well, before that, I started messing around with drugs and LSD, and then I got into